A brand new live series where I'm sharing about all of the different developmental windows in early childhood, that if we experience trauma in those stages, how that is now showing up for you as an adult, not only probably in life, but also, well, absolutely in life, but also in your relationship with money and your ability to receive. So if you have been following along, let me know. Let there be lights. I have just moved a curtain and it's a game changer. Let me know if you've been following the series, if you are joining me today and have any questions about any of the stuff that I've been talking about. If you haven't yet seen it, ladies, go watch it. It is going to be a game changer for you and your healing. So let's talk today about the ages of 7 to 12. This one time at band camp, it always reminds me of that when I go back. Your awkward teen years, essentially. Those were the years where you were really starting to find out what you're good at. So this is where typically between those ages you're finding out if you have a natural talent for football or for sports, or if you're academic. It's where some of your self-identity is starting to be formed, because even I had sports day yesterday, my son is 11. He already knows himself. He's not the fastest. He's not the best at certain things. He's got the biggest heart and passion for sports, but he doesn't have a natural ability as such, and he's already deemed that for himself. I think he's pretty good. I think he's overly harsh, but you can see the kids coming forwards, and definitely it was really interesting having watched the sports day yesterday. Just the kids with that natural God-given talent that were absolutely rapid, that literally, I don't want to be too crude, but literally pissed it for miles. They were heads, shoulders, miles front of these other kids, and there was a little bit in the middle where the average kids were, and then you would have the stragglers at the back that were I'm not even trying at this point. And it was just so interesting to me how this kind of behavior is just first hand witnessing it being formed at such a young age, because in every group that we're going, it was the same thing. You would have the ones that were completely out front, that didn't seem to even be trying, that were head and shoulders above the rest, and then this massive group of middle kids that were just kind of average. The ones at the front were really trying and trying to give it their all, and then the ones at the back that had just I'm okay with this situation. So I just left him with the lesson that, at the end of the day, I've seen many times passion will outdo talent every time. If you don't have the discipline and yet you have the passion and the discipline, that will outstrip talent every time. People can get lazy when they are naturally good at something, or almost take it for granted, overlook it, all of those things. So that is an age where, like I say, you're learning self-mastery, you're getting a sense, an identity, you're getting a sense of what you're good at and what you're not good at. And then, hi, thank you for joining me. And then equally, this is where an age where you start to form friendships, where that suddenly becomes a really important part of your life, those teenage years. So for me, and if you experience trauma at this age, it can be showing up in lots of different ways as an adult. So this is where you're learning, if you've experienced trauma, that your self-worth, you're tying that to your performance, first of all. So all those kids, and I was sitting with my partner and I was like, is this even okay? Anymore? Is sports day a bit of an outdated concept? Because kids just feel shit about themselves after this. The ones that are good, like I say, that naturally have God-given talent, or parents that have the focus and the resources to get them into clubs and, get them kind of up-leveling their skills, they are obviously going to do better than the ones that are just kind of okay. So why are we setting up the majority of the kids to feel bad about themselves? Are we hoping that they're going to see that rejection and that failure as an incentive to try and do better? Because actually probably what's going to happen, because we're all looking to move away from pain and towards pleasure, is that those kids aren't even going to bother trying. So my son, where he was I don't want to do sports day, I'm not good, I'm not fast. So he's learned as a trauma response to be funny. So this is what I'm now trying to I've become aware of, is that he's now the class clown, because he's realised he's not the most academic, he's not the most sporty, so he's trying to find his place in the world, and he doesn't have a point of reference. So he doesn't have a talent as such, although I think he does, obviously. But so he's realized that he's funny and he's confident, and I'm trying to either channel that into something constructive like drama or somewhere where he's going to get fulfillment. But I know in his heart that he wants to do, I mean, it might change, he's 11, but at the moment he wants to go to university and he wants to become an archaeologist. He's obsessed with dinosaurs, and that is a very real game plan for him. So I'm like, well, if that is where you ultimately want to go, you've got to up-level your academic ability. You're not going to do that if you are almost pushing it away by being the class clown, because then it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. You're not listening, you're not applying yourself, you're not even giving yourself the best chance of success. So there's like a constant like dance that needs to happen in order to help him to reframe all of that. You don't have to be the best, you've just got to be disciplined. You've just got to want it more than everybody else. You've just got to do what you need to do in order to get the result, and your way of doing it will look different to somebody else's. Now, how much, if you are listening to this live, does that kind of resonate with our approach as adults and as business owners, where if you perhaps realize for yourself very early, women particularly, we are very good at understanding where our skill set lies, and our brains are designed to be risk averse, right? This is why when I worked in human resources, only 60%, women would have to be like 95% sure of their capability of a job role before they would even try to apply, to throw their hat in the ring or put their hands up. So they're not even letting people know in advance that I'm going for that next level. If anything comes up, if there's opportunities to take on more responsibility, if you need any help with this project, no, it's not in my remit, but I'd love to start to learn those skill sets. We're not even doing that because we are so scared of being rejected, of getting things wrong, of looking silly, that we won't even give ourselves the best possible chance of success. We won't even try. And yet you've got these guys that only need to be around 60% sure, and they're like, yeah, fuck it, I'll give it a go. I'll throw my hat in the ring. Gonna get paid more money? Yeah, sure. Like, they don't have the same emotional attachment to the risk of failure as we do. So therefore, this is why it's, as women, and this is going to be controversial, but as women, we love to say that we are the victims and we are the underdogs in the corporate setting. We don't get paid as much and we have to take time out to have kids. Well, the reality is you can collapse time very quickly. You can go off and have those babies and come back and still absolutely dominate if you have the right mindset, if you have the right level of self-belief, if you have the right passion for what you are doing. I used to be a recruiter for 10 years. I know exactly what I'm looking for in a person. All of those qualities will outstrip any formal qualifications or training in a heartbeat. A business wants an employee who has heart, soul, passion for the job that they are doing, that are committed to growth and building the company alongside themselves. So that will outstrip all of those things that we believe are holding us back. And it's for us to kind of, and like I say, we don't even try. We don't even put ourselves in the ring. I've seen it happen many, many times where I'd be almost like tapping people on the shoulder and being like, come on now, this is your job. Why have you not even applied? Like, I didn't even see your name on the list. What's going on? They'd be like, well, I know that so-and-so's going for it. So there's really no point because obviously they're going to get it. And it's like, so life isn't taking you out of the game. You are taking yourself out of the game. That's what used to blow my mind. And I've seen it firsthand as a parent and also in the corporate setting. And then in the business world, when I'm working with clients in my masterminds, 9 times out of 10, it isn't strategy that they're there to learn. It's self-belief. It's permission to give themselves to be more visible, to charge more for their things that they already know are really good. So that's where the mastermind is, where the collective, where the safe space community really comes into play, and where it will absolutely 10x your income, being in a high level, high vibe, supportive environment, i.e. a mastermind, because you can start to get the evidence for yourself that what you want is safe, that you feel that the confidence from others is borrowed and will amplify your own self-confidence to go out there and do the thing, and then the results will be mirrored back to you in your reality. Like, it's just neuroscience at this point. It isn't about raising your vibrations and manifestation and woo-woo concepts. This is neuroscience, and this is why you need to watch this live. Because like I say, if for me in those years, I was always the new girl, right? I moved I had 2 infant schools, 2 primary schools, 2 high schools. So I never got to make those long lasting bonds, friendship. I never really had a solid friendship group at those ages. So I learned to be a chameleon. I learned to be nice, which is obviously a good quality anyway. I was always a nice person, but I learned to be what anybody wanted me to be, to fit in, to be accepted, to be talked to not get bullied, all of the things. And that has an impact as you move through the world, because then you've never really got a sense of self. It's hard to tap into your own intuition. It's hard to listen to your own internal compass when you're so used to looking at everybody else to tell you what is right, to tell you what is okay, even if it's social media. That's why I worry so much around like kids, and not necessarily social media influencing, because actually my kids coming through, like, they're actually very discerning. They're not about social media, but they love a YouTube. They love a TikTok. So they are looking to these people that are modeling what success looks like in this generation, where you just turn up and do nothing and then you make loads of money. They're looking to that to model how they are going to be successful in the world. And we know that that is just not how it is for everybody. Can be, absolutely. I'm totally here for like living in that realm of abundance and possibilities, but the chances are very unlikely for you to be successful in that way. But this is where your human design can also play a part. You get the natural communicators, the people that are naturally magnetic on camera, but that only counts for about 60% of the population. If you are a projector, if you are a reflector, if you are a manifester, that constant on all the time that is needed to grow that level of success, that level of consistency. If you are, and you don't have access to that regenerative battery, if you're not a manifesting generator or a generator, you're going to find it hard to create success in that way. And this is what I'm kind of teaching my kids, is that it's about finding your way, but equally not tying their self-worth to their net worth and their performance, because ultimately that is what's running your show right now. The amount of money that you feel is comfortable to receive, the amount of passion that you put into projects is all currently tied to your self-worth. So if you had trauma at that age, that's typically where you can see it showing up for you, where you feel overly attached to the external results that are being reflected back to you. And if they're not reflected back, if you don't have a great follower count, if you don't have loads of sales where people talk about, but they literally say one thing and they've got 100 sign-ups, they've got 100 sales in the bank. The reality is, for a lot of people, that isn't the case. And not only does it go against their human design anyway, it's also they haven't done the pre-work that the other people don't talk about. They haven't got affiliates working for them. They haven't been in the business for years. They haven't got lists coming out their ass. They don't talk about these things. And when you're witnessing that online and it's seemingly so effortless, it then affects your self-esteem. It kind of becomes that self-fulfilling prophecy around the neuroscience, as I mentioned, where you start to lean out, you start to think that you're the problem, there's something wrong, when really it's just a few tweaks. It's just a little bit of pre-work. It's just about a bit of transparency and less gatekeeping amongst women about what it takes to get those results, and you would be absolutely fine and available to have the same success as well. You can also have this need to prove, if you had, like I said, if you were rejected by your peers. So we then become like self-abandoning to our own selves. If we feel like other people don't feel that we're good enough, we can internalize that for ourselves. That means that we aren't charging the prices that we deserve. We aren't fully owning our geniuses and being like, yeah, do you know what? I'm amazing at what I do. Because here's the thing that most sales mentors won't tell you. It's the confidence and the conviction that sells a product. You need to believe that that is the absolute most incredible thing on the planet for people to believe and trust and invest with you. If you are somewhat halfway in and you're like, yeah, it's great, and look at all the bonuses that you get and these are all the benefits, but you aren't saying, because I am a badass and because you will be absolutely crazy not to work with me, then people are not going to invest in that product. They feel your hesitation. Even if it's at an unconscious level, they see your hesitance and if trust transfers. So if you are not telling them that their money is safe with you to invest with you, then they are not going to feel safe either. So then they're going to lean out and they're going to go to somebody else, one of the bigger name players that has more energy and momentum behind their brands, more testimonials to lean back on, and they are going to invest in that person, even if it is more. even if it's cost more money. It happened to me in the beginning stage of my business. And do you know what? It probably happens now, but now I see it as, because I'm not as aggressive, I'm not in my masculine, like a lot of these women are fighting for their life online, like with the amount of probably overheads that they've got in their business, they are sharking and pushing for every sale. I'm not in that season, and I've never been that person. So I'm okay with that, because nowadays I have a healthy relationship with rejection and failure, because I appreciate that the universe has my back, and that is probably protection in that sense. So I'm good. If somebody else down the road who is essentially a snake oil salesperson is going to save you the cure of all things, go invest your money with them if that feels more aligned, because I'm very open and honest with what the results that you can get in my programs and what I can deliver and what you need to be delivering and taking accountability for in yourself. But you may also have that inherent fear of rejection and failure, which means that you aren't even putting yourself out there. You aren't getting visible. You aren't claiming your genius. You're probably overworking and doing more than you need to, because you are just throwing spaghetti at the walls and hoping that if you do enough things, because there's so much validation in the doing as women, that you will be successful and you will have earned your success. Let me know if that resonates with you, because again, like women, God, we have such an unhealthy relationship with failure and rejection and feeling like such validation and being busy and being needed and being necessary, and feeling that if we just push enough, we will get some sense of success, whatever that is. When actually it's not any of those things. I know, I can tell you hand on heart, I don't work that fucking hard, if I'm honest. Like, I work hard, but it doesn't feel like hard work, because I'm doing what I love in a way that I know is in alignment with my human design. So I know that it's going to compound, even if not now, and I'm not getting like a million sign-ups straight out the gate. I know that, hi, thank you so much for joining me. I know that that is going to be compounding karmically, if nothing else. So I am good. I don't need to work harder. I'm also in it for the long haul. So for me, this is a calling now that I've found my thing, and it's all confirmed in my human design. I don't need the results overnight, because they come. This is, and when people, a lot of people, when they interview successful people and talk about overnight success, it's like 7 to 10 years in the making. Because, as I said, it's the conviction, it's the confidence, it's the self assurance in what you're selling that is ultimately selling your product. And that only comes with experience. That only comes with trying a few things and seeing if they worked out and learning from that experience or not. So you may also, like I say, having even the people that are successful, tying yourself your results and your income to your self-worth. Now, I've been in a lot of high-level masterminds with women that are earning 7 and 8 figures, and they are very broken and unhappy women. Everything about them is the results. Literally, as soon as they've even said hello, they are talking about the amount of money that they make or made last year or their last launch, because they're hiding behind it, and they get validation from that, because that's the only thing in their minds that they have to bring to the table, because they aren't happy and whole. Women, now you may say on the face of it, I don't care, I still want the money, but let me tell you, there will never be enough money in this world that will fill that hole within yourself if you are not a happy and whole person. And when you are in the energy of these women, you don't want it. You don't want it. Let me tell you, you think you want it. You see what it creates. You don't want it, because they will constantly be chasing and in never enoughness and lack, even though they have so much money that they could be giving themselves permission to enjoy it. They will never be happy and able to enjoy it. I've seen it firsthand. So let me know if any of that resonates. Maybe you have also been in the company with very insecure people that have money but are always waiting for it to leave them. Maybe that was their experience growing up, that people didn't stick around. Maybe their parents left. Like I said, maybe they were rejected by peer groups. Maybe they have experienced that in earlier years. So I would love for you, if you have enjoyed today's live, to go back and backtrack through the years where I talk about the trauma and how that's showing up for you in ages 0 to 2 and 3 to 6, because every point in this childhood development window is a critical part of your personality that is being developed, and your lens of the world that is being developed, and how it is showing up for you now as an adult. And when you can go back and reverse engineer and bring awareness to these things, that's when I think you truly start to reclaim your power in those situations. I didn't realize what I was doing when I was in corporate, and that I was tying so much of my self-worth to the level of job that I had, my job title, the amount of income that I had, even the fact that I had a car parking space. I'd done my time and I'd finally got it. It's like, come on now. Does that really define your self-worth? I don't think so. And it's when I started to reverse engineer, bring awareness to these things, seeing how it was playing out in my current life, reverse engineer, at what point did I decide that I wasn't worthy enough as a person without a job title, without a partner, without money. Because as I said, this then came to me attracting very disempowering relationships as an adult, friendship groups where it was very much one-sided. They didn't give a shit about me. They just cared about the money that I had and all of the things that I could give them. I was constantly in my masculine, giving out to others to compensate them for being my friend, for being my employee, for being in my energy. And when I realized that actually I'm quite happy, looking through all the stuff that I've been through, I know I'm a good person and I've been through a lot. And if that isn't enough for the other people outside of me to want to be in my energy, then actually I'm good. And when you get to that place, and equally when you can then start to own your power and your gifts and say, actually, I'm a heart-led coach. I am pretty good at what I do. That is when your reality starts to reverse, because then you start to build up that self-confidence, that conviction in what it is that you're selling and the transformation that you can provide for your clients. That's when people start to lean in. That's when they're like, wow, she really owns her shizzle. She really doesn't care what people think. That means she's a person of integrity. That means she actually is speaking about things that are different to what everybody else is saying online. That's interesting. That's different. People start to sit up. And I've got to tell you, yesterday, I received an application for my event, somebody to come and speak on my stage that I am creating. And we've kind of circled each other's energy for years, but she has made an application to come and speak on my stage. Now, let me tell you, on the face of it, she is 4 times more successful than me. She's been doing it longer than me. She has more followers than me. She probably makes more money than me. And she wants to come and speak on my stage. Now, could she have done that 5 years ago? No, not only would I have rejected that because I couldn't hold it at that stage. I wouldn't have even been in her energy to even have seen that opportunity. Our paths would not have crossed. But now where I am at a stage that I own my success, I am drawing in bigger and bigger players. And that's what feels really exciting. That's confirmation from the external 3D world that I'm doing something right on the internal world. And that's what I want for you guys. So obviously, as I said, lots of money mindset mentors will be talking about, if your parents were negative about money, you're going to have a bad relationship with money growing up. But it is so much deeper than that. It is about your self-worth, your relationship with self. It's about trauma. It's about self-sabotage. It's about being able to receive. It's about masculine energy in your life. Where are you too much in your masculine that you can't even receive a compliment? You can't even receive help. It's about societal conditioning, ancestral wounds, epigenetics. Like, there are so many layers. It's about somatic release in your body. It is about completely redefining in every fiber of your being your ability to receive and to be whole and to be enough. When it comes to money, then it will be reflected in your 3D world and your sales, which, let's be fucking honest, is really not that big a deal. Like, money doesn't get to have that much pull and say over your happiness in this lifetime. All of the things, when you build yourself up from the inside out, from every layer and every fiber of your being, money is a byproduct. And again, when I've sat with 7 and 8 figure entrepreneurs, that is exactly how it is. Oh, Ella. Hi, Ella. I bet you aren't sitting there obsessed with money. She's one of my former clients. She's a property coach. She's an absolute badass. And again, she isn't obsessed with money every single minute of the day because it's neutral. Of course, it's going to support her. It shows up every single day because she's done the internal work to allow it, not only for herself to receive it, but to own it. So the money just becomes inevitable and a byproduct. So thank you so much for joining me for this live. I would love, for your reflections on this. But as I said, this is why inside the Academy it's so much more than just doing some affirmations. It's about really backtracking and bringing awareness to every step of your journey of becoming you, right? Every step because when you came into this lifetime, you had a blueprint, you had a version of you, your highest potential, your human design, who you were meant to be in this lifetime before society got hold of you, before your parents got hold of you and shit all over you with doing the best that they could with what they had available, but their view and their lens and their perceptions of the world and their way of keeping you safe, by keeping you small and keeping you hidden, with good intentions, hopefully. If you had great parents, with bad parents, with non-good intentions. But before everybody else got a hold of you and told you who you were meant to be in this world, now it's about remembering and going back to that version of you so that you can show up and be interesting in the online space. That's the only way we're all going to survive in a generation, in a time where it's like a learning time where anybody can find information on ChatGPT or the internet. How do you stand out? It's by being original. It's by being interesting. It's about shining light on the parts that you've probably been too ashamed to talk about online. But those are the parts that people are going to find interesting and connect with and resonate with. And that's what we need to do. Just be authentic. I'm literally dying, ladies. Sorry. It's by having conviction in what you're selling and owning the shit that you bring to the table and knowing that people would be mad not to work with you. If, sucks to be them. I had that with one of my daughters. She's homeschooled. Some of her friends have kind of fallen by the wayside, and I'm like, fuck 'em. Sucks to be them. If they are not your friend, they are missing out on somebody who is truly going to do big things in this world, that is truly interesting and innovative and creative and beautiful from the inside out. That is the energy that you need to bring to your business right now and to the online space. And if you don't feel confident to do that, if you don't feel safe to do that, then find a tribe, a community that allows you to be seen fully and creates that safe space for you to expand and play and evolve into. This is why I have a mastermind. This is why I have an academy, because sometimes we need the logical aspects to do that. So thank you so much for joining me. Let me know your takeaways. Yes, thank you, Craig. Absolutely, you are a person that is owning every inch of themselves. I've absolutely loved your live series, not a live series, your masterclass too. So that is it. It's time to go out there and claim, not in our masculine, not from push energy, not from wounded masculine energy either. This is from just owning the table, because we are it. Thank you so much for joining me for this live. Let me know your aha moments.